On the night of Thursday, the 5th of January 2023, the members of the Sinaloa Cartel took to the streets of the northern city of Culiacan to violently protest the arrest of Ovidio Guzman, a notable member of their cartel. Every attempt made by the armed forces to contain the situation proved abortive and several got injured. The arrest. Around 4 a.m. on the 6th of January 2023, several armed forces members came in to arrest Ovidio, the son of the drug lord El Chapo. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman is currently serving life imprisonment in a U.S. federal prison for trafficking billions of dollars worth of drugs to the U.S. But before he got jailed, he was the kingpin of the Mexican criminal organization in Sinaloa. His son, Ovidio, took over, and now he is one of the most wanted cartel leaders in the world. Certainly, Ovidio has several crimes to pay for, and the defense secretary, Luis Crescendo, said Ovidio had been under surveillance for 6 months before his arrest. But the reason for his arrest was that he and his cartel members opened fire against a group of policemen who had set up a roadblock to prevent them from passing. The most likely reason was that the national security forces had been finding ways to arrest him. So when they saw around 25 cartel vehicles moving, they knew the probability of one having Ovidio in it was high. The police immediately struck, and a battle ensued between them and the cartel members. It is said that 7 soldiers were killed during the fight. After his arrest, he was transferred to the Mexican capital to be detained, as they knew there was no chance he would remain detained if he was left in the city. But the members of his cartel were not having it and decided to jog people's memory by reminding them what happened the last time the Mexican authorities tried to arrest him. The 2019 arrest. The same year El Chapo was arrested by the American authorities, his son was also arrested in Mexico. But Ovidio peculiarly gained his freedom not long after his arrest. In 2019, federal forces carried out a raid in Culiacan and were able to detain Ovidio afterward. But as he was being taken away by nation guards, all hell broke loose. About 100 members of the Sinaloa cartel took to the streets of Culiacan to protest his arrest. Things quickly escalated, and before anyone knew what was happening, the men had taken over the city. Several people were held hostage, and they set fire to anything and everything. They also surrounded a housing complex where families of military personnel stayed and threatened to hurt them. About 8 people were killed during this chaos. President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador couldn't stand the bloodshed, so he decided to take a hugs not bullet, crime-fighting approach. He ordered the release of Ovidio, and peace was restored. But the president was ashamed of his 2019 decision and probably wouldn't do the same this time. Due to the success of their violent 2019 protest, the Sinaloa cartel members decided to give the federal authorities and the citizens a déjà vu moment. Déjà vu. Just like in 2019, the Sinaloa cartel members took to the streets once again and began to wreak havoc in the streets. They decided to take hold of the city and set things on fire till Ovidio was released. They even blocked all 6 city entrances with burning vehicles, causing people to panic. The mayor of Culiacan, Juan de Dios Gomez, had ordered the citizens to stay indoors due to the blockades and the closure of schools and administrative offices. We ask the citizens of Culiacan not to leave home due to the blockades in different parts of the city. Former chief of the Drug Enforcement Agency, Mike Vigil, mentioned that the Mexican authorities were slightly responsible for the cartel's arrest of their leader. He said on several occasions all the members had to do to get what they wanted was to resort to violence. And just like magic, it worked. The Mexican government has passed a clear message that if a leading member of the cartel was captured and you generated wholesale violence, there was a good possibility that they would be released. Vigil continued by saying that was the reason every move made by the cartel was calculated. Everyone knew his expectations, and they acted like well-trained military forces. Part of their plan to release Ovidio was to prevent him from being taken to the capital. They entered the airport and shot at both civilian and military planes. Some were still in flight and had to make emergency landings due to the bullets hitting vital places in the aircraft. Airport buildings got affected, and the cartel members just kept shooting, not minding that some innocent lives could be affected. One affected plane included Aeromexico's 8:24 a.m. flight to Mexico City. The passengers had been weary of the assault around them and were filmed trying to take cover between the airplane's seats. The victims that were calculated the next day were said to be about 29, which is assumed to be 10 members of the military and 19 cartel fighters. About 35 soldiers were said to be wounded, but there is no idea of how many cartel members got injured. A different result. Their violent protest yielded no result this time, as Ovidio wasn't released. The people were only told to stay home and be safe until the issue died. Schools and other open places were closed, so most people awaited the situation's outcome in their homes. 24 hours later, everything became calm. The cartel members must have seen that their effort to save their leader proved futile, so they must have gone back to re-strategize. Many guess that the president kept him jailed because the U.S. president was to come the Monday after the incident. Since the major issues to be discussed were migration and security issues, the Mexican president must have wanted to prove that he was not weak and could handle the cartel and security issues in the country. Just like his father, Ovidio earned himself an awful reputation in the U.S. as the criminal mastermind behind the fentanyl drug that is causing a major crisis in the U.S. There has been a surge in overdose deaths in the U.S. due to the consumption of fentanyl. So the country had to put immense pressure on Mexico to disrupt the criminal organizations like the Sinaloa Cartel, responsible for producing and exporting the deadly drug. He was wanted for arrest so badly that the U.S. authorities placed a $5 million gift reward for information that could lead to his arrest or conviction. So imagine how happy they must have been to find out that the Mexican authority had finally arrested the hardened criminal. It doesn't matter what the reason behind his arrest was, the most important thing is that he was arrested. In fact, Vigil called the arrest of Ovidio Guzman a victory for justice and the rule of law. Although he added that Ovidio's arrest might not make a difference in the operations of the Sinaloa Cartel, as some other person would take his place. He said that they are a vast organization that operates everywhere but Antarctica. They operate in 6 of the 7 continents. The only continent they don't operate in is Antarctica because penguins don't have money to buy drugs. This will not impact the violence in Mexico or the drugs coming into the U.S., especially fentanyl, which is our major crisis. Vigil, among several others, believes that the violence subsiding is likely the calm before the storm, as they are not known to accept defeat. He warned that the cartel might be planning something bigger, such as ordering the killing of military officials and their families. Some are even afraid that Ovidio's arrest would lead to a power struggle between the Sinaloa cartel and its Jalisco rivals. Others believe that there would be a showdown between El Chapo's 4 sons, known as Los Chapitos, and the cartel members loyal to cartel leader Ismael El Mayo Zambada. If there is a problem within and between cartels, it's common knowledge that innocent citizens might also fall victim. So, whether it's revenge on the military official or a power tussle, Vigil warns the citizen to stay alert and be security conscious, as they will not let this stand. We've come to the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. Kindly like, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Until next time.